That's continuing coverage of E3 2013. You're watching Stage 2 on e3.gamespot.com or on twitch.tv/GameSpot E3 Stage 2. That's where all the cool games are, like Company of Heroes 2, which we're getting set up at the moment. But very happy to have Rob and Sasha here from Relic, who are going to demo it once we've got it set up. We've got some gameplay to talk about in the meantime. But thanks very much for coming along, guys. Company of Heroes 2, long time coming.
No worries, we're happy to be here.
No, it's 2006. Company Heroes 1 came out. I remember watching the review on GameSpot. Greg Kasavin gave it a 9.0. Historically, it's always been known as the highest rated real-time strategy game
of all time.
Of all friggin' time. So you guys, you got a pretty easy job to do. Do it again.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just trying to beat that. No worries, right?
So Company Heroes 2, it's the Eastern Front this time around. Just give me the elevator pitch. What's the difference and the similarities for people who aren't familiar with the series, perhaps?
Well, a lot of the combat is kind of similar to COH1, but the big, massive, stark difference is that it's the Eastern Front. So this is the untold side of World War II in media as we know it, and basically you are in command of the Soviet Red Army. And the idea is you feel the burden of command. You have thousands of troops at your disposal, and you're going to send them to their certain doom to be successful, to be victorious. And so, victory is not without its cost. It's not just, it's not like a Peggle type experience where like, yay, you won the mission. It's like you actually cost thousands of lives.
Right.
So it's unique in that way from COH1.
All right, so there's no ode to joy playing over the top of the battlefield.
No, it's pretty bleak. It's not somber, but it's not a happy-go-lucky experience.
Well, Company Heroes, the original was never a game that was celebrating war. I don't think many games try to do it, but some definitely try less to tell a sort of a real tale about what warfare is really like. Was the Eastern Front always the direction you were going to go in, considering there was so much content in relation to the various fronts in the first game?
Well, I think that's exactly part of it. There's a lot of content there. There's a lot of history we can pull from. There's a lot of unique content that we can create. A huge part of it was this is what the community wanted. At Relic, we are gamers. We love COH1. We play it all the time, and we're very, very active with our community. And there's some there's been a lot of push to get the Eastern Front from the community. And so basically, we've listened, and I think everybody's going to be really happy with it.
Cool. While we wait, we're nearly there. Are we there now? Is this?
Yeah, it'll be about 30 seconds. Almost there.
About 30 seconds. Okay. We'll try and get it into 720 or something. Exactly. Make it look in all of its glory. Yeah. That's going to be a really interesting part of it as well, actually, because 2006, it's been a while. You guys have been pretty busy, though. Relic Games, you've been working on a lot of Warhammer stuff in the meantime.
Yeah, there's always lots of collaboration with Games Workshop. They're great guys to work with. And hopefully we will continue to work with them into the foreseeable future.
Was it nice to get back to this? Was this a project that was always kind of just waiting to happen?
Yeah, I think this is Relic's roots. COH is a game that most people know, and Relic is a name that's synonymous with RTS, and this is one of the games that made that happen. And so I think for everybody on the development team, this was a really exciting opportunity. For a lot of guys, it was literally getting back to their roots. We have a lot of the original devs.
Oh, really?
And then there's a lot of guys that are newer to Relic, and so for them it's this really unique experience to work with old and new. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we got it right here. I'd have to give Sasha a handshake. Incredible work, son. Getting this stuff working in the middle of an interview.
Thanks very much. PCs are hard.
PCs are hard, but then there's no other way to play a game like this, really, is there?
Agreed.
So let's check this out. So what we're looking at the land bridge to Leningrad here. Explain what's going on here.
Sure. Yeah. Well, this is about halfway through our single-player campaign, and we're looking at the Soviet army pushing from two fronts into the town of Schlisselburg, which was a key location in breaking the siege of Leningrad. So the German army had a blockade of Leningrad for over a year. Millions were starving, and it was vitally important for the Soviet army to break that blockade and allow supplies into the city.
And so in terms of the big sort of Eastern Front stuff, do you have a lot of the major battles like the
Yeah.
Would the Battle of Stalingrad fall into that category?
Absolutely. I mean, we try to span the whole war. We start in 1941, with Operation Barbarossa pushing into the USSR, and then we get to Stalingrad.
So it starts the whole way from Barbarossa?
All the way from 41, with the German army pushing in, and then we get to Stalingrad in 42, all the way to VE Day, all the way to Berlin. So it really spans the whole war in the Eastern Front.
Excellent.
And the tide's turning for the Red Army, where they get to push back.
Yeah, you really get to see the breadth of the entire war from the Russian side, which is really what's compelling about this campaign.
Absolutely.
It's right from the get-go in 41 through 45.
And their story is an interesting one because it's almost like a false victory in a way, because they lost so many troops. There wasn't much in terms of the way of new ground. It was a vengeful sort of entry into Berlin.
Yeah, I mean, the Eastern Front saw, literally, without exaggerating, the biggest battles in humankind's history. So that's ever. We're talking 10, 11, 12 million people that died.
Yeah.
Bulk of German forces were lost on the Eastern
Oh,
Front.
really?
80% of German casualties were on the Eastern Front.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that much of a swing.
Yeah, not only were the fans clamoring for this, but it's important that more of us are focusing on this aspect of the war because it's huge. It's monumental, and the West tends to focus on the Western Front. So
Sure.
we're really happy to be giving a lot of fans what they've been wanting for a long time.
So let's talk about what's going on here, just in terms of your micromanagement of the troops here and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Just explain
My micromanagement is poor, but right now I'm controlling shock troops and conscripts. So your conscript squads are kind of your low-level infantry. They fire with rifles. They're able to use Molotov cocktails and a battle cry ability, which just sort of powers them up a little bit, gives them a bit of a movement speed buff. So they're pretty low-level infantry, but they're useful because you can get them in great numbers. So you can just keep calling these guys in, and they might die pretty easily, but they're useful. Shock troops are more durable. You want to get them up close and use their submachine guns, and they've got a powerful grenade which you can use to take out things like this howitzer here. So let's see if I can do that.
So one of the key things here to notice is that Sasha's pushing up on these Germans. He's got quite a few more infantry than the Germans that are there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the key differences between the two armies, is that you have the Russian forces, and really they're the hammer. They're the ones, you're just going to bludgeon the enemy to death with sheer numbers. Whereas the Germans, when you play in the multiplayer experience, or our third mode, which is Theater of War, they're much more like a scalpel. The idea is that they're better trained, they were better equipped, so we've really reflected that in the gameplay.
Exactly.
You have less of them, and so you don't have to be more tactful, but you employ different tactics.
Yeah. We're seeing some flamethrowers here. Does any of the sort of the Russian winter, like the weather effects and whatnot, does that ever play into gameplay at any stage?
One of the major features we have is called Cold Tech. And so basically what this is a dynamic weather system in our winter environments. What that means is that you have things like a blizzard, which will come in sporadically. And in a blizzard, if your troops are caught in the open, so again, keep in mind, COH1 players, you know all about cover and our cover system, how important that is. You leave your guys out in the open, they're going to get demolished. It's the same thing here. Although
this is green mode.
This is green mode. this is the green Mars blizzard. Hey, there we go.
There you go.
So if a blizzard hits and your troops are not in cover, or they're not near a fire, they're going to freeze to death.
Wow.
So what this means is that everybody who just leaves their sort of tertiary troops idle, you're playing multiplayer, you're playing a campaign mission, if you're not paying attention, the winter is going to claim your guys. Now, what's interesting about this is it's not just one more thing you got to get good at managing.
Yeah.
It also has a toll on your enemy, including the AI. And so if you're playing against somebody, you're playing against a skirmish AI, their troops will freeze to death as well. And so it's a sort of third NPC that affects everything. Past a blizzard, you've got deep snow. And so deep snow is going to slow your infantry down. They're also going to leave tracks in the snow. Same with your vehicles. So you might have a small reconnaissance force or something like that, and if you come across a bunch of tracks in the snow, you're going to be able to tell what direction they're going. If you're really good, you're going to be able to tell what type of units they are. And so you're going to know, I need to bring some anti-tank, or I need to bring some mortars in, or something like that, based on what's there. The blizzard will then cover those tracks up. The battlefield's always changing.
That's super interesting. It's nice to hear like some of the points of the Eastern Front that maybe never were seen in the rest of Europe. tackled that way. Can you? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that Sasha's got an Su-76 here, which is one of the Russian major vehicles you're going to see a lot of in both the campaign and the online experience. And so just one other thing I was going to call out here for our cold tech system is that if he brings that across the ice and he's not careful with it, it would just take one German grenade to destroy the ice underneath that very expensive, hard to get tank, and that tank's gone.
So for people who aren't familiar with the series, just give a sort of an outline as to the volume of vehicles that are available to your cause.
It's comparable to COH1. You've got light vehicles, medium vehicles, some super heavy vehicles. You've got our specialized artillery vehicles. The Katyusha is the infamous Russian artillery truck. It's got a very unique sound, and our audio designers really, really captured this. So when you're playing this game, if you hear the sound, it's a terrifying screaming noise. It's really, really outlandish.
I was in a Russian tank museum for a different game. You can probably guess which one. Back in November. And I saw a variety of tanks that they never actually used, including one which was some ridiculous 40-ton thing that they couldn't cross bridges.
It would just crush the ground underneath it.
We've got some of those super heavy tanks in the game, and they are impressive. I mean, I'm really happy with them. We've got this German tank destroyer called the Elephant, which is just an enormous thing with a fixed turret, and it can fire, hundreds and hundreds of meters, and it's able to just blast away Soviet tanks. We've got the
Brunbar.
The Brunbar, which is an amazing assault gun, which can destroy blockades and take out entire infantry squads in one hit. We've got the Soviet IS-2, which is an incredible super tank, heavy tank, which is able to go toe-to-toe with the German Tiger. And then we've got everything down to the little scout cars for finding snipers and taking them out. We've got half-tracks for reinforcing and moving troops around, and then little light T-70 tanks for taking out infantry and light vehicles.
The tank battles are absolutely incredible in this game. They are the pinnacle of the multiplayer experience for myself. When you see 3-4 players aside going at it with tanks, and they know what they're doing. It's something you've never seen in a video game experience. Period.
Well, let's really talk about that for a second, because we're going to have a look at the campaign here. Obviously, you guys, the skirmish mode is a major part of it. But since 2006, the real-time strategy genre has gone through kind of a peculiar reinvention in competitive gaming. StarCraft 2 is really broken outside of South Korea and now has turned into a massive force.
Yeah, the idea of the esport.
Yeah. That whole it's a massive draw, and not only is it obviously creating new markets for people to watch games and whatnot, but I think it's probably opened up real-time strategy to a lot of people who wouldn't have played it before. So in terms of that stuff, are you guys kind of looking at that area as an area for growth? How much focus is on the multiplayer side?
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, our community is really important to us. We're very involved with them, whether it's forums or the Sunday Night Fights is a thing that's been going since 2006, I believe. So we're talking 7 years. This is a long time people have been playing.
Yeah, not many games have that long tail.
No, and so for COH2, we're super pumped to be announcing here at E3 that we've got a partnership with Twitch.
Fantastic.
So Twitch TV is fully integrated seamlessly with our experience. What that means is people who are using Twitch, people who are casting a game period are going to know some of the hoops you have to jump through to get a cast set up.
Yeah.
With COH2, it's seamless. So you fire the game up. It's one of the major things in the front end menu. You sign in, bang, you're off to the races. You're casting right away. For people who are new to Twitch and new to the idea of casting, it's super simple. The barrier of entry has been really dropped. And so this is a major thing for us. We're really hoping that it's going to just enrich our online esport community. A big thing for multiplayer is we're going to be supporting with free maps. So this is something that Relic's been known for.
Yeah.
Maps are going to be coming your way. So and then there will be additional content. Maps are the big thing that we're focusing on. That's what people crave. And so you're going to see that.
Excellent. Just so people know as well, we get a lot of questions during the stream with people who've just added it. Because you just mentioned when the Company Heroes 2 is coming out on what platforms and whatnot.
Yeah, so June 25th, we release, and so it's going to be on Steam. It's going to be a box product as well. You can pre-order right now. We have an open beta that's been going for at least a few weeks now. It's actually open. It was closed before that for a long time, but it's fully open. You can get into it for free. You can get access, no problem. You can pre-order. If you love the game, hopefully you will. I personally think you will. Anybody that loves strategy is going to love this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, June 25th is the day.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting because it's a title that's been for people who are maybe new to PC gaming or new to real-time strategy for whatever reason. I imagine for them it's a title that they've heard about in whispers for a long time and possibly never got a chance to play it. So it's kind of a good time to be coming out. I think real-time strategy is going through this kind of crazy bump in popularity. No,
absolutely. It's it never really went away.
No, not at all. No.
But I think it's like you said, the bump in popularity is becoming more and more present. And so it's exciting for us as an RTS studio. That's what we specialize in. That's what we're good at doing. So
I just want to briefly talk to you as well. There was you guys were kind of closing out Company Heroes 2 when the whole THQ thing happened. Did that affect you guys in any sort of way? Yeah,
you would think so. I mean, obviously it did because THQ went bankrupt and our lives as developers were up in the air. Relic is a very special studio in the sense that you've got a team that's filled with veterans. You've got a lot of people you can look up to. It's a very high caliber studio. And what it meant for us was, look, there's some bad stuff going on right now. There's a lot of unknowns. We're in the middle of finaling a game that we absolutely love. We're in the middle of finaling a game that we're very involved with the community in dealing with them and talking with them, but also in getting their help with developing. The forums, we have done so much iteration based off forum feedback. And so it basically came down to we need to put our heads down and almost ignore what's going on with THQ and as much as we can, and just concentrate on finishing and finaling.
Well, it's all turned out fine in the end. You guys obviously are
we're very fortunate.
We're extremely fortunate. We're super excited working with Sega. We're working with some of our now sister studios. And they have presences here at E3. We're getting to meet a lot of our fellow developers for the first time, and it's a really jovial, really fantastic experience. Everybody's really happy.
And that's not PR nonsense. I'm really excited about it. I think things worked out better than we could have expected. The transition over to their publicity, their QA, their marketing, everything went really well, and we're really happy with how they're supporting us, but they're also letting us do what we want to do. So it's been great.
Absolutely, and I think the only reason as developers finaling this title, and this is a big title to final, there's a lot of work here. The only reason we were able to do that was because of the support we got from Sega. They came in, they recognized the quality of the product, they recognized how good this game is, and they said, we are going to do what we need to do to get this transition as seamless and as easy as possible for you, so there's no headaches. And they really, really knocked it out of the park. So
excellent.
We are ever thankful for that.
I've got a couple of questions coming in from Twitter from various people. The first one is just in terms of destructibility in the environments. How does that play into gameplay?
Well, the environments are super destructible. As you can see here on the right, there's a lake there. In this particular area, Sash can't get down there, but there are maps where you're going across the ice. That ice is super dangerous territory. Whether you've got infantry or vehicles, it's just gonna take one explosive device, whether it's a tank shell or an anti-infantry grenade, anything like that. That ice, once it's destroyed, if you have units on it, they're sinking, they're swimming.
Not for long, presumably.
It'll freeze over, but you're not going to see them again. Let's look at it that way.
In terms of the factions then in the game, is it German and Russian, or when you're in skirmish mode, are they more available? Or?
So the campaign, again, is the Soviet Red Army. We've got the two modes outside of that. So multiplayer, you're going to get to play as the Germans, as well as the Soviets.
The Germans?
Yeah,
Indeed.
So you're gonna play as the Germans, and then as well in our third mode, which is Theater of War, which is sort of an intermediary between the campaign and online experience. So what this is 18 specialized missions that are split between Russian and Germany, the Russians and the Germans, and each one's very unique, and they're like small campaign experiences in amongst themselves, and you can play them co-op. So what this means is, you play through the campaign, you love the campaign, you want more of it. Theater of War, it's there, it's installed, purchase after the fact. It's there for you. A lot of love has gone into polishing this thing.
It adds a lot of cool content because a lot of people were saying, oh, we love that we want to play campaign, but we want to play as Germans. Well, we're able to do that. You can play as the German army at Theater of War, and it provides a similar experience, a really cool kind of campaign-like experience with narrative elements and cinematic moments, unique maps, and then cooperative gameplay as well. So it's a huge addition. We didn't have this in Company of Heroes 1. Having it in 2, I think, is just wonderful because it appeals to a different type of gamer, but hopefully it'll also appeal to the campaign fans who want to play as Germans.
Awesome. Rob and Sasha, thank you for showing us Company of Heroes 2. Can't wait to play it. For one last time, tell the good folks at home when Company of Heroes 2 is available and on what platforms.
June 25th on PC. Watch for it in Steam and in stores.
Awesome. Well, we got bunches more stuff coming up here on GameSpot E3's. Coverage keeps on coming. Dragon's Prophet up in a little bit. Ascend, Hand of Cool, Last of Us, Puppeteer, Blackguards. I'm going to take a little 5-minute break, so I'll see you then.